Great to see you. Feels like I haven't done a news video in a minute. I hope everyone's having a wonderful week and that we've all been winning our solo queue games. But for now, let's get into the news. First up, we've got something pretty funny. Somehow, this Gragas playtester stole the spotlight in this video posted on the official League of Legends channel when Urgot reworked like 7 years ago. The video was meant to showcase Urgot's abilities, but I just couldn't help but notice the Gragas completely running it down in the background. Check this out. To add a bit more info to this, Riot Endstep commented below pointing out that it just happened to be a good showcase of Urgot's abilities, so they used it. Or Gragas sprinting it down was just too funny not to use, whichever you prefer. Up next, raise your koalas for the Oceanic server. Earlier in the week, during a professional LCO match between Mammoth and Fury, the Mammoth ADC Guncrab had a very unfortunate internet outage. Because the games are played online on the tournament realm and obviously not on LAN, the game ended up being a literal 4v5 and Fury was gifted a free win. Check it out.
We are going forward with the 4v5 because if I do remember correctly, there is only a certain amount of time you can pause for before you're forced to unpause. Yeah, it's really unfortunate they have to go forward with the 4v5, but you know, maybe with how strong they looked last game, it doesn't even matter.
Imagine if that was the case and they just smash it out the park in a 4v5 in League of Legends history, but it's certainly a quick one at that standard. Forget the context, forget everything else. It's a really unfortunate circumstance for Guncrab with his internet dropping out here and unable to connect. And that is the law, those are the rules. It has to start eventually. And at 13 minutes, it's like Fury are going to put them out of their misery. A tough game to swallow. I don't think either side is quite honestly happy with the outcome. But that's just how it is sometimes, I suppose, Sally. I suppose I'm lost for words. It's a hard game to analyze. It's a hard game to play by play. It's almost like a chat show. You're watching you know, your mates stream in Discord.
And as if the LCO's troubles weren't enough with a professional 4v5, an investigation was concluded regarding the alleged win trading and actions of Chen Zhuan and a few other individuals. Let's take a look at some Chen Zhuan gameplay featuring extremely questionable clicks.
Very easily, I think it's going to pick up like the K-Nex rook at him, as we're seeing an all-in in bot lane.
Yeah, we certainly are. Look at Chen Zhuan falling on down. He's barely hung on for dear life there as the Summoner Hill comes out from his AD carry, but the sniper, it's there! He goes back in with the shield on himself.
On your screen are the official LCO findings, citing that Chen Zhuan was found to be win trading and was banned for 36 months. River, another player involved, was also banned due to not cooperating with the investigation. Team management was also given a warning due to their lack of oversight on day-to-day operations that may have allowed this to happen or even perhaps indirectly facilitated it. Not a good day for the LCO pro scene. Up next, a new breed of crab has been discovered, or something, in China, and they decided to name it after Teemo. Officially scientifically named Gothus Teemo, apparently it got its name because it's furry like Teemo. But of course, the community wasn't happy, because we all hate Teemo. Dums, my goat, said it should have been named after Scuttlecrab because they both look similarly shaped, or even Urgot, because bro actually is a crab. Let me know your thoughts on the Teemo crab down below, and while you're scrolling down there, don't forget to subscribe if you enjoy this type of League news content. Moving on, this really peculiar clip of Bin kicking teammate On's chair in the practice room has surfaced. Check it out. Sorry for the potato quality, that's just what was on Twitter. There's no known animosity between the players, and perhaps they were just fooling around, but On doesn't seem overly impressed, and honestly, if someone was kicking my chair like that, I'd just throw it at them. Some of the community were mildly concerned that there may be slight ongoing bullying, but nothing is confirmed. Now, just before we jump into the main topic of today, a quick word from today's sponsor. This is tapin.gg, a service to fit all your Find a Teammate needs within minutes. With an almost 5-star rating on Trustpilot, Tap In is something for everyone, from a coach to spectate your gameplay and tell you what to improve on, to teammates if you're just looking for someone to duo. I specifically tried out their coaching service because it's one of the cheapest out there at under $15 a session. None of that $300 crap, and I have to say, I was very impressed. We went over my fundamental knowledge with a test, and then my coach Clyde live viewed one of my games. Then we discussed notes he'd made about my gameplay. If this sounds like something you'd like to try, use code RIVAL in the description and it'll give you 50% off your first 3 orders. So what have you got to lose? Thanks Tapin for sponsoring this video. So late last week, there was a really heated, or should I say divisive discussion surrounding a particular player. Bardinette, and EU West Bard top 1 trick. It all started because of this clip, where Agurin goes AFK because his top laner, Bardinette, who has essentially disabled him from playing the game due to his pick and his playstyle. Check it out.
I honestly think I should AFK here. What is this waste of my time? I'm gonna say I can't play, right? You guys can see it. I am not allowed to play the game. If my bard wasn't fucking disgusting, we could play, but he is, so.
To this, there was a lot of different opinions and takes. Firstly, let's see what Nemesis had to say.
We open the vault and we start from level 1. Which is basically what the problem starts. So first of all, Agurin, let's talk about the draft. Agurin has to play with Bardinette, which I, by the way, played with this guy myself a couple of times. Now, I have no problem against like off-meta strategies or whatever. This guy's strategy is basically do not lane, leave top lane, and then just perma-gank mid-top, create number advantages on the other side of the map, and just play that way. While Bard also collapse Shime, so he gets like more XP or whatever. The strategy makes sense, and obviously the guy is 500 LP or whatever, so it does work to a certain extent. Now, this doesn't mean the strategy is actually good, okay? Bard top forces your team to play in a very unique way, okay? It basically deletes standard League of Legends of the game, okay? Lanes become very volatile, he starts XP sharing you, he starts pushing your lane, there's just a lot of randomness happening, okay? And his teammates, so every teammate in Bard's team does not consent to this strategy, okay? They are forced to play it in his favor because he locks in Bard every game, okay? His teammates don't have a say, yes, I want to play this, or no, I don't want to play this, okay? So this is like, this strategy, in my opinion, is really grief. It's a very bad strategy. It only works till a certain amount of LP. Obviously, once this Bard player starts playing against competent players like pros and whatever, this does not work anymore. Now, just because it works in Master 500 LP does not matter. Master 500 LP has a shit ton of variety. The game quality is as low as Platinum games, okay? This does not mean anything.
Then, onto Veigar V2.
Now, him playing top lane Bard is not my problem with him. My problem is that he just doesn't lane. He just roams. And so he essentially forces 9 people, right, enemy team and his own team, to play his version of League of Legends rather than the traditional League of Legends. League of Legends isn't a game that 30% of the time you play it this way and then 70% this way. It is 99.9999999% of the time you play League of Legends one guy top, one guy jungle, one guy mid, 2 guys bot. There's no lane swap. There's no 2-1-1 in solo queue. There just isn't. So everybody that queues up for solo queue, they expect, okay, I'm gonna go and play top lane. I'm gonna go play mid lane. I'm gonna be against a guy. Sure, you might go bot lane and you play against a Rengar ADC one trick. That's fine, because he's still bot lane. Sure, you queue mid lane, you're against some Talon roaming the whole game. Sure, but you're still mid lane, right? You're not getting griefed. You go and you queue jungle with fucking Bardinette on your team? He's level 4, look at tab. Enemy top is 2 levels ahead. If you ever go into your top side, Renekton can just proxy and go here, right? Renekton will be level 8 to level 5 Bard at some point. What do you want Agurin to do?
Now, IWillDominate.
Oh, I saw the Agurin clip, by the way. Like, obviously, you should never AFK. I agree with that. Okay, you can make the red hate threat, you can hate on him, but I think that there's a core problem here. That, like, jungle is the most suffering role to play. Also, ban people that do this strategy. It is not good to roam around the map and just let the enemy top lane become Thanos. Riot makes sure that strategies like this are not viable. And then people do them anyway, like, because this is a thing where people just make it their brand for some reason. Like, they think that this is the way they're gonna blow up on Twitch, is by doing an alternative strategy. They're like, oh, Boss did an alternative strategy, which was also nerfed out of the game, by the way, right? Like, they nerfed Sion out of the game. And the thing about these types of players is that they behave as a toxic teammate. Motherfuckers like this, they do this strategy every game regardless of circumstance, and they just like put a fucking gun to your head as a jungler, and they're like, you will play my game or we lose.
And lastly, Caedrel.
He's level 4, look at tab. Enemy top is 2 levels ahead. If you ever go into your top side, Renekton can just proxy and go here, right? Renekton will be level 8.
The biggest counter argument to all of this, because I can see what his point is. His point is that he's playing the game differently and all 9 players are forced to play the game differently in solo queue. I get it. I don't agree with that take though. I think that's just a bad take. Because if he got to Master / Grandmaster / Challenger Elo with this strat, then obviously it works somehow. And just because he's playing the game different doesn't mean like it's his fault, you know? Obviously he's gonna look like a fucking clown ass when he runs it down. But what's the point in innovation if there's no new strategies in the game? That's like me saying Baus should not be allowed to proxy and go 0-10 every game, because that's not how the game works. The top laner is not laning against an opponent. People play solo queue so they can lane against someone. If they're not laning against anyone, then how is that fair? That's like me saying that. It's like, it's just a bad argument. He plays the game differently. He climbs Elo. He climbs in Elo. You can say it's arrogant and selfish to play like that, but also it's different. And he's found a way to manipulate the game in his own favor to win games, to climb. And that's what games are about. That's how games were formed. It was, here's a game, figure it out. Any game from the start of the invention of video games. Here's a game, you figure it out in your way, okay? And even if it's a team game, if someone's figured it out differently to others, it doesn't mean they're wrong. Obviously, it's frustrating as hell to have a level 4 bar top running the game down. And I'm not here to be his lawyer. But I feel like the same thing happened when Baus started playing the game. Everyone was like, oh my god, Baus's playstyle is so stupid. Fucking ban that guy.
So to give my own point of view, I have to say I understand both sides and both perspectives. But personally, I have to say I feel like it's a bit unfair to have to make the other 9 players in the game play your version of League of Legends. Like, yes, that person climbed with X unconventional strat, and yes, it probably works in certain scenarios, but only you know what scenarios it works in, and it can be very hard to help people understand what to do and how to react mid-game. And typically, if your unconventional game plan doesn't work, you're usually ruining the lane for someone else who's being pushed into a play they normally wouldn't take. Not only that, no one likes dealing with a top laner that's got both towers in 10 minutes and has a 4-level lead. I do have to reiterate though that Bardinette is actually trying his hardest to win. On your screen is his op.gg, so it does work to some extent, but I understand the frustrations here. Ultimately though, I don't really think this affects the streamer. He's still doing his thing, but the community definitely got pretty involved just because it obviously calls into question what's acceptable in terms of inventing a new meta, or however you want to frame it. But of course, give me your opinion on it all below. Up next, the LPL socials officials are under fire following this extremely unprofessional post with stabs at the king himself, Faker. Now, all the info I could find on this topic is foreign. Forgive me if there's some translation inconsistencies, but this user from Caedrel subreddit says, quote, "The phrase, as highlighted, which by itself originally stands for the 4th subject test for the Chinese driver license test, has recently been very, very, very widely used to mock Faker's single-family background by Chinese netizens. This character is pronounced as Ki, or K, and is the phonetic abbreviation for Faker. This character sounds like the character, this character, which stands for mother, and this character sounds the same as this character, which stands for death. Excuse my Chinese character ignorance. Put together, they mean that Faker has a dead mother, which is meant to mock the fact that Faker's parents are divorced and he was raised by a single dad. It is important to note that this has been used very frequently by Chinese netizens over the past 2 months and would be impossible to miss if you have been on the league side of the Chinese internet. And obviously, the 4th subject test of the Chinese driver's license test is not some unavoidable commonly used everyday phrase. I don't really get that part, but the whole mother dying part's just really slack. Following this incident, the official T1 Weibo account unfollowed the LPL Weibo account and responded with this statement, translated by ChatGPT. "Hello everyone, this is T1 Esports Club. A long time has passed since posted the highly controversial Weibo post. As an overseas esports team, our communications channels with China are very limited, so the handling time has been lengthy. We ask for your understanding. After communicating with the officials, an explanation was provided and we are actively addressing the matter. The original intention of T1 operating domestic platforms was to share and communicate more with fans who love Faker and T1 in China, and to accept all voices as much as possible with a friendly attitude. As an overseas esports club, we still have a lot to improve in our domestic operations, and we will do our best to protect the interest of our players and team in the future. T1 Esports Club hopes to build a good esports atmosphere together with everyone and will continue to uphold this concept in the future. Thank you very much to the fans who have always supported Faker and T1. Thank you sincerely, T1. I just quickly want to also shout out Reddit users DirtyPetals, Colors31, GG_Zorm, Buff Azir, and more difference regarding this post because all the information in it was found because of their work. The whole situation is just really distasteful and unbefitting of someone as unproblematic as Faker and someone who's accomplished accomplished as much within the game as him. I am glad, however, that T1 recognized all this and took public action. Now, I know you're all used to seeing Riven clips in the background of my videos, but today there is another I'd like to share. In an LCS show match, General Sniper, the top laner for 100 Thieves and a well-known previous Riven one trick, busted this play out against the hard counter of Licorice's Poppy. Just check how nice this is.
Sniper is trying to hard force the turn. He got it, but can he escape the wrath of the Poppy? Licorice, he needs to make sure gets that last hit. Oh, but Sniper with the outplay!
Spoilers!
Oh my god, Sniper just completely styled on him.
Honestly, all this does is make me want to see more Riven in pro play. She's just so dynamic with such a high skill ceiling, but unfortunately her kit doesn't accommodate professional League of Legends, so my hopes to seeing Riven in pro are very slim. Moving on, there was a bit of controversy surrounding a TikTok Kesha made earlier in the week. In my previous news video, I shared a clip where an Akali player stream sniped a Teemo hiding in the bush. Well, Kesha kinda did the same thing to someone with TTV in their name, and here is the result.
Look at this, a bro thinks he's the bounce on FFS. Why is he so fucking tanky? What the fuck? 9999999!
You're laughing on the inside, huh?
He's not gonna expect this, he's not gonna expect this, he doesn't know what's going on, he doesn't expect this. Ah! I'm going as well! Fuck!
Because of this, Naayil, a high-profile EUS streamer, spoke up on it, and his post received over 3,000 likes because of it. And I have to say, I kind of agree with him. I don't think Kesha would actually ever stream snipe, and this was all just for content, but it still technically breaks the Twitch TOS. No punishment has come about it as a result of it though. It's a pretty minor case. Up next, Chovy is on an absolute tear playing ADC's mid. Just look at this insane win streak. He's also almost 1,000 LP with just under a 70% win rate, which is crazy. I honestly hope this guy single-handedly gets the ADC mid-meta nerfed more, because I'm sure I, like you, is sick of playing against Tristana every second game. Moving on, a PBE data mine has revealed that boots will mostly all be receiving a nerf next patch, which I honestly couldn't be happier about. In patch 14.15, the changes on your screen will be made, as well as a few changes to some mid laners. I definitely think the boots changes are needed. It pushes a more passive or safe playstyle when they're in the meta, and it's not uncommon to see 3 or more champions every game going boots 2 off base, especially if they're losing lane. Also, ain't no one killing a fleet footwork, teleport, steel caps rush, Tristana mid. In the champion changes, Akali is getting quite a sizable buff, Cassiopeia is receiving some number bumps, Aurelia is receiving some health and sustain buffs while her stacked passive is nerfed, Yasuo and Yone are receiving number shifts, and Zed is getting some adjustments as well. Let me know what you think of the upcoming patch in the comments below. And lastly, if I haven't spoken about this enough, we have an even harder evidence-based test proving that losers queue is not real. In this post made by user renecotyfanboy, hope I said that right, he's an astrophysicist. They provide a ton of data that was cross-referenced and checked by qualified colleagues that found across the sample size of 178,500 matches and 2,100 players, there is no data to support losers queue existing. If you want to read this whole thing, including the graph and all the other information they went through, the link will be in the description below. Anyway, that'll do us all for today. I know this is a bit of a longer video, but I kind of tried to make it that way because I was getting a lot of comments just asking for more league news. So here you go. Let me know if you like the longer version of these videos. Thank you so much for watching today, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!